everyone. We want to welcome you today to the We Are Flora Pearl podcast. I am your host, Latasha J. Humphrey, and in a moment, we're going to jump into this amazing podcast. But before we get started, we want to let our audience know that this podcast is being brought to you by the Flora Pearl Foundation, where our vision is bridging the gap, building a legacy. Our mission is that we are a 501c3, community-focused nonprofit mentoring organization, building healthy relationships and partnerships between women and girls through education, community service, networking, unification, and career planning. Our inspiration is Flora Pearl Humphrey. She was my paternal grandmother, and although she passed away in 2001 of a massive heart attack, what she taught me and my family was about faith, family, and community. And that is where I draw my inspiration from. Now, audience, I have the pleasure to introduce to you someone who has a sweet disposition. From what I have seen, she is about generational growth, wealth, and building. I first met her at a Biz Live event with I Am Woman Business Network. At the time, she shared her vision, and I was very impressed by her desire to make a change. Most of all, I admire her desire to make a difference in our young people's lives, because without a doubt, I know they are our future. And so does she. Her willingness to not only talk the talk, but actually be a difference and make a difference in the lives of others is impeccable. She is a force and a name you do not want to forget. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Mona Lisa Morris. How you doing, Mona Lisa?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you this morning?
I am excellent. It is such an honor to have you with us today. And if you would, just briefly go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience.
Well, thank you so much. I'm Mona Lisa Morris, as you said, and I am the founder and CEO of Finish College Smart. Our mission is to empower and equip students with simple, strategic, and smart solutions for an affordable and successful college experience. And our vision is to impact economic growth by helping college students have a secure financial and educational foundation. So I'm honored to actually be with you this morning and talk about what we're trying to do to help students and parents in helping their students finish college on time or less and finish college with little or no debt.
Well, awesome. I think, I know, it is an awesome thing that you're doing, and it's definitely needed. And so I know I want to jump right into the podcast and the topic about your passion. And like you were saying, just pretty much your core message is, helping students finish college and do it without college debt, and really talk about economic wealth and growth. And in doing research for our interview today, I know, as far as you starting your business, it was because of the passion behind it. And so I would like you to, just explain to our audience, those who may not know you, your passion for why you do what you do.
Okay, thank you. I'm honored. I actually am a first-generation college student in my family, in my immediate family. Neither one of my parents attended college, and when it was time for me to go to college, they did not have the information or resources to really provide to me to help me be successful in college, but they were supportive in their own way. Attending college for me was just kind of going through the motions, but I wasn't well informed or really have all the information I needed to be successful in college. I dropped out my junior year because I wasn't as focused as I should have been. It wasn't because of grades. Actually, my grades were pretty well. It's just when it came to funding college, paying for college, and having all the tools and resources I needed to finish, I just didn't have that in place. And so I decided to go into a technical field or a field in the healthcare industry. And actually, it served me very well. I did that for actually over 20 years, as well as the insurance industry. But during that time, I also still wanted to complete my college degree. So I found a way to do that and do it without creating more debt. And as I was going through that process and began to prepare my daughter for college, I realized there are so many students out here that were in a situation like I was, where they wanted to go to college, but just didn't have the resources or the funding or just all the knowledge they needed to make sure that they were successful in completing their degree. I actually used a lot of the strategies and tips that I learned to help my daughter to finish college in less than 4 years and without all the burden of college debt. And as we went through that process, we were seeing so many students that were not only just getting into college debt, but getting into mortgage-sized college debt, where they were graduating with like even $100,000 of student loan debt, and the degrees that they were coming out with were not degrees that were going to be comparable to help them pay that huge amount of debt. So it's really a problem that we're seeing in the communities where students are having difficulties paying back student loans because really at the age of 18, 19, 20 years old, when you're in college and you're being told just sign here to, get a student loan and pay for college, but not really understanding what you're getting involved with or what commitment that you're going to have with that debt, or just knowing that when you graduate from college about how much your income will be and how difficult it may be to pay back that huge student loan payment. It really just kind of touched my heart watching these students have a foundation at the beginning of their adult lives where they really have all this debt that they're burdened with and not really knowing how they're going to get out of it. I also, because of the work that I was doing with the insurance industry, was coming into contact with a lot of senior citizens, and some of them being garnished for student loan payments.
Wow.
A lot of people don't realize that student loans are a federal debt like income taxes or things like that, where you aren't going to be able to just get out of it. You can't discharge it in bankruptcy or get away from that debt. So even when you retire or go on Social Security, the government is going to get their money if you have not paid that money back. And, that really touched my heart, because you're talking about people that are living on a fixed, limited income, already struggling just to purchase their medications or, just to survive, and also having to worry about the government garnishing their incomes for student loan debt that, either they took out years ago for themselves or maybe even for a son or daughter or a grandchild, just trying to help them, but not really themselves being in a position to pay it back.
Yeah.
So there are so many reasons why, I just felt like there really needed to be something out here addressing the issue of all this student loan debt. And a lot of programs are out here to help students get into college, but not to actually help them finish college. So, we want to make sure that they finish, and they finish college smart. So that's how we came up with the name Finish College Smart, because I really wanted to make sure that people are not only finishing college, but making smart choices in college. There's just so many aspects that, this entails that a lot of people just don't realize when they first say, hey, I want to go to college, and not really have a plan in place to make sure that they're going to be successful in it, make sure that they're going to graduate and not have all that student loan debt. There's just so much involved with it that people aren't looking at before they actually get there. And because of it, it's going to cost them so much in the long run.
Yeah.
So we're excited to finally have our services launched. We're actually, trying to come up with ways that we can serve as many people as possible, because the more we talk about our services, the more people are interested in getting help. And we're trying to get to as many people as possible that we can serve. So we're actually coming up with some services where we can even serve people in groups to make sure we help them create their college plan, and make sure that it's a smart college plan, because anyone can say, hey, yes, I'm planning for college, but a lot of times it's only planning to get into college. But we're trying to work with people and make sure they have a successful plan to actually finish college.
Right. And that is just like you said, the name itself. I mean, it definitely is. And it's when I think about it, it's a twofold for me, because it's finish college smart with your money, and then finish college smart, with the education, what you've learned along the way. And so that's just really awesome. And just in the lines of what you were saying, even when you're talking about some of the senior citizens and just some of the people who really for the lack of knowledge have fallen to, the trap of with the debt, because it becomes that, if it's something you can't even, you can't even be, you said bankruptcy, you can't even put it in bankruptcy and think it's going to go away, then it becomes a generational situation. And I wanted to go into that topic because in our society, particularly, I could definitely speak as it relates to the African American community. There is kind of the notion of, like you were saying, you get your 4-year degree. We're not even really planning. So that means that debt comes along with it if you don't have scholarships, if you don't have that way to go. And that becomes kind of the pathway, because it's like, you got to go to college. You got to go to college. And it's almost as though, it's expected that you're going to have this debt. You go to college, you got to take out loans, because that's been a conversation a lot of different times when I've talked with different parents. That's pretty much what, they talk about. And that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. But what I saw most recently was a quote, and I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on it. On the lines of what you said, that, a sister friend of mine posted, she was saying that stop selling college to kids just for the sake, without a plan. Just to say that you got them there. And she said a well-stocked tech-based toolbox is becoming more valuable than a degree. And I wanted to get your take as it relates to generational, and also on that particular quote.
That is a marvelous quote, because although our name is Finish College Smart, the first thing we do is we consult with parents and students to make sure that they're looking at what is the best path for them to take. And getting a 4-year degree may not even be necessary for what they're wanting to do with their lives. There are some great programs out there at 2-year institutions where you can get a 2-year degree, or even at a technical college where you can get a trade, where you could literally earn more money than someone with a 4-year degree. So it's all about making those smart choices and just knowing what do I want to do? What am I passionate about? What plan do I have for the rest of my life? Now, obviously, at the age of 18, 19, 20 years old, you may not know exactly what you want to do.
Right.
So why go and drop a student off on a college campus where, it could literally cost them $25,000 that year to just kind of wander around, not really knowing exactly what they want to do? That's a lot of money.
Yes.
And for most of these students, they don't have the scholarships. Many of them don't get enough financial aid. There's so many reasons why, as that quote was, you need to have a plan in place.
Yes.
And that's what our program is about. It's about being strategic. It's about having a smart plan, making smart choices about what you want to do so that you don't end up with all that student loan debt, or so that you don't end up a dropout out of college because you just didn't know or have a plan in place about what you wanted to do. I think that quote is perfect in addressing that issue. Now, as far as generational, and as far as parents maybe wanting to just, send their students to college and A lot of it, yes, is because of this transparency with social media. No one wants to say that their child didn't go to college or didn't move on to, I guess, that next phase in their life. But I think that we really have to be less concerned about the image that we're portraying and be more concerned about the impact of the choices that we're making.
Yes.
Because, when you look 10 years down the road, and I tell clients this all the time, I hate for someone to say, I wish I had known. I had to make that statement a lot in my life. I had to learn a lot on my own. And for my daughter, my biggest concern was, why make mistakes that I've made when I can show you or help you to keep from making those same mistakes?
Yes.
So that's changing the course of our generations in our family, because she was able to go through college, have a successful college experience. Not only did she graduate with high honors in less than 4 years without all the burden of college debt, but she even became queen of her college.
Wow.
She was able to pledge a sorority.
Yeah.
She was able to join so many activities. She even was on track to graduate in 3 years. But because she was enjoying everything that she had the opportunity to do, she actually decided that, you know what, I'm going to go an extra semester and make sure that I, finish maybe this activity or do this thing that I always wanted to do. She was able to make those choices. Most people are struggling just to finish.
Wow.
She was able to say, hey, you know what, I want to take an extra semester and actually do, some more things. So that's something that, I'm really proud of, because so many of the students we see, they're in a completely opposite situation. They're just literally struggling to try to just finish college. And at that point, they're worried about 6 months from the time that they graduate, how am I going to make that first student loan payment? How am I going to, make sure that I have a place to live, as well as, be able to pay all these bills and all the student loans that I owe. So, that's something that she didn't have to worry about. So that's something that parents and students really need to consider when they're thinking about this college experience. It's great to say, yes, my child went to this college or that college, but is that really the best choice? Is that really what they need at this point? So we open up that conversation with parents and students to make sure that they are making smart choices that they can look down the road 10 years from now and say, you know what, I'm glad I did it this way, or I'm glad I did it that way. Because when you look back at some of the choices other students and parents are making, trust me, they wish they had someone saying those things to them, because it's something that you're going to carry with you for literally the next 40 or more years. And that's one of things that I address in a quote that I have. The choices you make during 4 years of college can impact how you will live the next 40 or more years of your life.
Whoa.
So, a lot of people don't realize how important it is to make those smart choices, because it literally can impact how you will live the rest of your life.
That is an awesome quote, because that is so real. I'm a visual person, and I was just looking at that like, yeah, that's, within you thinking like, oh, it's 4 years, but this can impact the rest 40, the rest of your years, the rest 40 more of your years. So that's amazing. Wow. And just, on the heels of that, I wanted you to say, on the flip side, like your daughter, she definitely had you, she had those resources, and you all were in a different situation. Speak to that person who, the mom or dad who, their daughter, they're in that senior year and they haven't prepared. They don't have that plan, the state plan they have, and they're like, where do we start? Say she's at a 2.5, and it's like, what do we do from this point? If we don't, if she doesn't want to, she does desire to go to college, but she doesn't, basically they don't want the debt.
Right. at that point, there's just a lot of self-evaluation. I know a lot of times when I sit in front of a student and a parent, there can be a situation where the parent just really wants the student to go to college. The student may not be ready for college. So that's why we feel like it's not about just working with students, but even working with the parents. A lot of times parents need to understand that although they may have these high expectations or aspirations for their child, they have to keep in mind that the child has to decide what they're ready for, and they also have to have great information so that they are not disillusioned by, oh, I just need to go and then figure out my way once I get there, because that's kind of the perception that I feel a lot of people have. Oh, just go to college, and when you get there, you'll figure things out. And I think that that's the wrong way to look at it, because, again, we're talking about something that is so expensive and that can have such a huge impact on someone's finances for the rest of their life, that we don't want to just drop someone off at college and say, just figure it out. We want to make sure before they get there that they have a strategic plan in place. So even if they're in their senior year, even if they have not gone through the process of creating a plan, it's not too late. And, it's okay. I think a lot of people don't like the idea of maybe not going immediately to college, even if they plan on going to college. It's okay to take a gap year. I think that a lot of people now look at it a little differently, especially when you look at Barack Obama's daughter decided to take a gap year and to intern rather than going immediately to Harvard. Now, she could have just went straight to Harvard. I'm sure she probably had scholarships in line for her, but she decided to make a choice based on other things, not just because, I just need to go straight to college immediately because that's what you're supposed to do, but she probably took a look at other things in their lives, and what I guess she felt like would be the best path for her, and the opportunity that she got to intern, she probably felt like was a better choice. So I commend people like that who don't just go with what they think the norm is or that everyone expects for them to do, but what they feel is important to them or the perfect choice for them.
Yes. No, that's awesome. And that's the thing, just like you're saying, be also what I hear you saying too is, be your own person, know what your goals are, know what you can do and kind of what, it's not even limitations. I just feel like, where you are located. I always say, check your location. So it's like, where am I right now? Where do I see myself, or where can I possibly be? So I think that's perfect. And when they're able to, I guess, be responsible for their own decisions. And like you were saying, with Mr. Obama's daughter, like being able to have that option, and I think about too, even different choices like AmeriCorps, it could be, different things like that you could become a part of for a year. And that's community service. A way to give back, but you can earn some type of money and, and have some work experience. I think that people look at that differently too. And it does help to mature you in a lot of ways, if you're not quite, in that space. So I agree. I think that's awesome. Yeah. And so with your services, like you were saying, just kind of walk us through the journey of Finish College Smart. When parents come to you, and the students, when they come, both students and parents come, what are those services that you offer? Do you package them, or how would you walk through that process?
Right. Great question. What we do is, first of all, we consult with them. We need to get a clear understanding of that particular situation with that student and that parent, because there's no one size fits all that you can really have for an individual and what they need for college. Everyone's different. Everyone has different career goals or aspirations or things that they want to achieve in life. So there's no just kind of one path that you have to take. So we really need to get a good idea of what that person's college needs are, or what their concerns are, or what issues that they have in order to help them create a good college plan. Now, after we do the consultation, then depending on what services they need, because some people may already have scholarships in place. And one thing that I kind of want to also mention with people that get scholarships, I think a lot of times when we have someone that maybe did well in high school, and maybe they've earned a scholarship to go to college, people assume that that person is just going to go to college and they're going to succeed. Because they did well in high school, and they're also going to do well in college. A lot of people don't realize that college is a completely different experience.
Right.
And you literally have students that will go from being, top in their class in high school to go to college and then literally just start even failing or just not doing well. Sometimes it's an adjustment issue. Sometimes it could be other issues. But we have to realize that just because someone did well in high school doesn't mean they're going to automatically succeed in college. So we also like to make sure that even if someone maybe has their college funded through scholarships and all of that, they may still need that help and that guidance. And we provide not only helping someone create a college plan, but we provide coaching and guidance to make sure that they complete the steps they need to actually finish college and finish college smart. So it entails, really depending on the services that that person needs, it entails coaching, it entails, guidance, providing services that maybe someone didn't think about as far as, funding their college program, or there's just a lot of different services that we can get into, but it's really all based upon that individual's needs. We're also creating an academy where we're going to actually group students together where they can work together on creating their college plans. And of course, it is an individualized plan, but we'll be able to work with students in groups. And that also encourages accountability. It encourages students to maybe think about things that maybe they haven't thought about before when it comes to their expectations about college, or what they plan to do in college. So it's about bringing them together to work and make sure that they actually create a good college experience for themselves. But we have a variety of services that we can provide, just really depending on the needs of the parents and the students.
Okay. Now, if you would share, the information as to how, our audience can learn more, with your website and just any contact information that you have.
Okay. Definitely, you can go to our website, www.finishcollegesmart.com. Also, we are on social media. We're on Facebook, Finish College Smart, as well as Twitter and Instagram. You can call our office. We have a physical location in Birmingham, Alabama. The phone number is 205-943-6100. And also, of course, through email, info@finishcollegesmart.com.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, we're going to move into the next topic. It's called Culture Vibes. And it pretty much is an opportunity for us to discuss different topics that may be trending and just kind of in pop culture. And so right now, unfortunately, the situation that's happening in Houston due to tropical storm Harvey, just a lot is going on as it relates to flooding and just a lot of displacement there, and just different things that are going on that are unfortunate. And one of the situations was that I recently saw where Pastor Joe Osteen of Lakewood Church there in Houston, they have a big congregation. And initially, I think that it was some type of communication that said that the church was inaccessible due to flooding, within the church itself. I think it was like surrounding the church. I saw some different pictures. But then eventually, after social media kind of got hold to it, I think they really kind of went in on him and on the church, and they ended up opening up at some point to help. And and it possibly is areas that were safe. And so I really just kind of wanted to get your take on it, if you heard anything different or if there's anything that you wanted to share on that topic.
Okay. It's interesting that this is the topic that you chose because I actually was scheduled to fly to Houston on last Friday.
Wow.
And would have been there actually during Hurricane Harvey's impact on that area. But thanks to friends and family that knew that I was preparing to travel to the area, when they got the warning of what was about to happen, of course, they contacted me and I was able to cancel my travel plans.
Okay.
And I'm so grateful because, each morning when I see the images on social media or on the news, and I guess just reflecting back that I could have actually been stuck or trapped there in the midst of all of that had I not gotten those warnings.
Yeah.
But I think, a lot of us, we're getting certain information based on what these different media outlets want us to see.
Right.
We're not getting firsthand information. We're not getting all the facts and details maybe that are there. We're only getting just bits and pieces. So I think we have to be mindful of that when we're making our own perceptions about, what someone did or didn't do, or why did they react in the way that they did. Because I think back at how I noticed a lot of people also were critical of the mayor and how he didn't evacuate people. When the governor actually, I think, brought to the table the fact that maybe people should evacuate the area. Mm-hmm. And the mayor said, well, a lot of people are coming down on me for not doing that. But if you think about, had I tried to evacuate the amount of people that would have been impacted in that Houston area, we would have seen more deaths. We would have seen people literally trapped on the roads in the middle of the flooding. I think a lot of times we're quick to make a judgment without really thinking about all of the facts involved. So it's hard for me to say that, well, Lakewood Church should have done this or should have done that, because to be honest with you, I don't know the travel to that area or, what the flooding was like, or what impact the church had as far as, did it get flooded in certain areas, and, how safe was it for the church. So there's a lot of questions I would have before I could really make a decision. And I just really challenge other people to maybe step back and not be so quick to make judgments, because we really are on the outside looking in. Right. And we only have just a little bit of the information, but, we may not have all of the details, and we're not sitting down and getting all the firsthand information in order for, someone like that to really make a sound decision. And a lot of times, like I know just from the communication that I've had personally with family and friends in that area, you have certain individuals that are impacted and certain that are not. Thank God the people that I was connected to actually are safe. They are, not having as much water to deal with as other people in other parts of Houston. So, you really can't make judgments based on the little bit of information we're getting. So that's just kind of my take on it. Yeah. I really can't say yay or nay, someone did something right or wrong. I just feel like I think people are making the best choices based on the information that they have, and we just kind of have to deal with it. I challenge everyone to maybe, if they can, make a donation. Of course, definitely keep that area in their prayers. That's something that I've been doing daily. Yes. Because, I just think about how I literally could have been there in the midst of that. So I thank God every day that I'm, safe and I'm, at home, and that I did not travel to the area, but I also pray for those individuals that are going through the struggles that they're going through in the area.
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate you so much for saying that, because that's the thing, with social media, it's almost like a double-edged sword, because or even with the media, we get information, but sometimes it's opinion news, for the most part, and it's what people your opinions, and it's not necessarily facts, because people want to get there first. They want to, report this first. And but I saw it just yet, and when I saw it yesterday, I was just like, really, because if it was a choice of safety over opening the doors, you have to make some judgment calls, and I think that when you're in it, that's when you can tell me what I should do, or when you've at least been through it, versus you on the sideline. You're not even in the game. So you can't really tell me how it's going in the game, And so just like what you said, I appreciate you for sharing that, because a lot of what you said is what I think as well. And so thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we're going to move into the topic as relates to singleness. And so I wanted to talk with you about, just being single, kind of how are you dealing with your singleness? And if there are any, pearls of wisdom that you would share with other single women who may even be anxious to be married one day, just anything you could share on those lines.
Okay. Well, this is also an interesting topic for me, because I'm, I guess, what I would consider fairly recently single. I actually was married for 18 years, in that relationship for over 20, and just this past October, divorced. So single life is fairly new for me again, after over 20 years.
Yeah.
So I probably could get a lot more advice from other individuals.
Right, with being single.
But I have learned a lot, just from, I guess, making the adjustment, because, I know a lot of people, yes, they want to get married. They feel like that's the best thing to do. That's what we're supposed to do. I guess that's just kind of the natural course you're supposed to take in life. But I challenge people to not be afraid of being single. I think I probably had a little fear of being single for a while, because I probably would have been divorced a little bit sooner had I not had the fear of actually being single. But just learning to appreciate having the peace of mind and the serenity of being able to do the things that I want to do, and not have to worry about the impact that it would have on that other individual, or the impact that they have on me and trying to complete my goals. I think has been really refreshing for me, because I think I probably would have had even other things done, with even finished college smart, starting it sooner, had I probably even been single. But I've made a lot of choices to not do things because of married life, and taking that time to devote to the family versus devote to other choices. So I think just really having that peace of mind, and knowing that it's okay to be single. It's not that I have to have this plan that I have to, get married again soon, that, marriage is the only way. I think a lot of women I've even met sometimes that have never been married, they really feel like that's a problem in their lives because they've never been married. It's okay. I don't think people should feel that marriage is the thing that you have to do. I welcome it, if you have the right person that you're involved with, and you both are in that position in your lives where you feel like that's the best choice for you. That's wonderful. But I think people need to understand that you don't have to be married to be happy, or to do the things that you need to do, or, that's the only thing that you're supposed to have as far as in your life. As far as a relationship is making sure that you actually marry someone. It's okay, but don't get me wrong. I loved being married. I hope to, maybe be married again one day. I think I should welcome advice from other individuals about single life rather than giving it at this point.
Okay.
Because again, I'm so fairly new to the process that I'm still learning a lot myself.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's awesome. Well, we're going to move into our segment called Mother-Daughter Bonds. And basically, it's a series of questions that I would like for you to answer. And it may even encourage more conversation among mothers and daughters. And so I also believe, though, that it's a good way for our audience to basically even get to know you more as a person. And so, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the first question is, what has your daughter taught you about yourself?
Okay. My daughter has taught me about myself that I have actually made a lot of smart choices in my own life. When I look at her and a lot of decisions that she's making, and a lot of times when she tells me things that I told her, and how she reflects back on those things that I said to her. I'm so proud of the fact that I was able to share wisdom with her that I really didn't realize I was sharing. A lot of times, we're just, telling our children things, and, of course, we hope and pray that they take heed to it,
right.
or that they're listening. But sometimes, you get that side eye or that
right.
you think that they're not actually paying attention, or
right.
That it's going in one ear and out the other. But I think she's taught me that I've really said some wonderful things to her, and she actually listened. She actually, took in what I said and actually processed it and actually remembered it. Whereas, I literally didn't think she was actually listening.
Right,
so,
right.
That's what she's taught me. She's taught me also that she actually does listen. And that's something I think that we all have to realize with our children. Even when we think that they're not paying attention or that they're not really listening to what we're saying, they're listening.
Right.
And they will remember. So keep saying those things. Keep speaking things over them. Keep telling them things that are positive or things that they really need to know, because my daughter really did teach me that. She heard what I said, and it resonated with her. Even when I didn't think it did, she heard me, and she actually remembered and processed and used the information that I gave her.
That's awesome. Yeah, good stuff. Well, how did your relationship with your mother prepare you to become the woman that you are today?
My relationship with my mother really prepared me in being professional in the way that, I approach things. My mother, although she came from very humble beginnings herself, she was the daughter of a large family with, many siblings. And, of course, you can imagine that she didn't have a lot of the resources that maybe someone in a smaller family would have. It was a struggle for that family. And despite that, she always carried herself in a positive and professional, and just you wouldn't know by looking at her or listening to her what she came from. And that's what I really got from my mom, even with the humble beginnings that I had in my family with her. A lot of times people will assume when they look at you that maybe you came from, somewhere with money, or I guess, a much different beginning that you had in your life, when actually, you can't look at me and tell what I've been through. You can't look at me and tell the struggles maybe that I've had. So I feel that she really instilled in me that, you hold your head up high, you're professional, and you carry yourself in a way that, no one has to know maybe even what you're currently going through.
Right.
Because, that's also something that could be encouraging for other people as well. We don't have to wear, on our shoulders all of our problems,
Right.
or all of our issues, or we don't have to, show it. And that it actually helps us as well to deal with the things that we're dealing with. I feel like, a lot of things that I've gone through in life or I've watched in life, or have happened within my family, I could be in a much different position or much different place right now. But because she instilled in me to hold my head up high, to be proud and professional and positive, it's really had a tremendous impact on me dealing with different things that I may have had to go through, but not letting it get me down. Just keep moving forward and getting into a better position no matter what.
Awesome. And can you name 3 things that mothers and daughters could practice daily to strengthen that bond within their mother-daughter relationship?
Well, the first thing I would say is communication. I'm big on that with my daughter. I have to communicate with her daily, whether it's through text or, actually talking on the phone. She and her husband travel a lot. He's an officer in the military. And I've recently was blessed with my first granddaughter. She's 8 months old. And they're not here with me, so I have to have that open communication. I have to hear from them, on a daily basis. So communication is the first thing. And I think the second thing would be commitment, making sure that we commit the time to, see each other at some point, or, make sure that we're involved in each other's lives, because it's so easy. Everyone's so busy and has all these different things that are going on. We're in different states. But committing to, hey, we're going to see each other at this point, or we're going to make plans to do this. I think commitment is another thing. And then I would probably say mothers and daughters would definitely have to, and I didn't plan this, but it starts with another C.
Right.
Just cherishing.
I saw your pattern going, and I said, she got C. Right.
Communication, commitment, and cherishing the bond that we have. Because a lot of times I'm seeing where people are not close to relatives for different reasons. I see it within my own family, have experienced it myself, and just cherishing the bond that you can create with your daughter, I think it's just so important, because we all know that tomorrow is not promised to any of us. And, a lot of times we can take for granted the time that we have, but we don't know how much time we have. So definitely cherishing the bond that we can have with our daughters or our mothers, however you want to look at it, is definitely key, and something that we all have to make sure that we continue to work on daily.
Perfect. Yeah, I love your C's. I was listening to you and I said, did she have a C pattern? So yeah, that was really cool. Thank you for sharing that. And what book most influenced you?
Most influenced me, gosh, there's so many things to choose from. I think what has most influenced me is just different experiences altogether. I don't know if I could really say one particular experience, because I think the combination of different experiences has really impacted me more than anything. Not just one particular experience, but just a combination of different things. I think, that's how we grow. That's how we move forward. So I think I would just say a combination of different experiences that I've gone through in life, some of which, I would say maybe have been negative experiences, some of them positive. But I really, to be honest with you, don't have one particular thing that has impacted me more than, I guess, the combination of all the experiences that I've had.
Okay. And I I probably wasn't clear with it, but the book, like a book that most influenced you.
Oh, a book. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you say
no,
book.
You're fine.
Now, I think probably a more recent book that, a lot of people probably have already read, but I've recently started reading The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by
Stephen Covey.
I think that's probably one that is impacting me right now or influencing more than anything, because a lot of times we are just so busy that we have all of these different habits that are not effective, highly effective, as the title says. So just creating those 7 habits of highly effective people, I think are critical for me, because there's so much I want to do. There's so many people I want to help. There's and I'm only one person.
Right.
And I'll try to stretch myself in so many different directions. And I think that's something that this book is really helping me with, because, again, I'm only one person and I can only do so much. But in my mind, I want to do this for that person, or I want to do this for this other person, or, I want to do all these different things. And a lot of times, we stretch ourselves in so many different directions. So just learning to be highly effective is something that I'm learning from this book. And I think it's one of the best influences for me, especially at this moment in time.
Perfect. Well, what keeps you grounded?
What keeps me grounded, I think, is my faith in God and knowing that He has a plan for me and a purpose, and making sure that no matter what, as long as I'm following that purpose and that plan that He has for me, that everything will fall into place. For me, just finished college smart was a little bit scary, because, I had a great job with a great income, and, it's kind of like, well, why would I want to jump off into something else that, may not have the same amount of return, or just not knowing. When you're starting a business or when you're putting yourself out there, there's a lot of unknown. So, it's a little scary for someone that, you're stable in a job and you have this income, or you're already in a position in your life where, why would I want to disrupt that and get into something else? But it's not about that. For me, it's about me following God's plan for me and His purpose for my life. And that keeps me grounded, and knowing that no matter what I'm doing, I feel like it's the right choice, because I'm following, and I pray every day that I am following God's path that He has for me in my life.
Okay. What are the 3 qualities that got you where you are today?
I think the 3 qualities, one being just the desire to help people. It seems that every position that I've had throughout my adult life, as far as employment, has always been in the service industry, whether it was working for a nonprofit organization that I've done, or working in the health industry, or even in the insurance industry. It's all been about helping people. So I think that would be the first one. I think the second one would be just, again, my commitment to serve my passion and my purpose. And then the third, I think, would be just thinking about always, and I guess they all kind of tie in together, really, but just always that desire to make things better. And I think those are the 3 things for me. Okay.
What superpower would you like to have?
Oh, wow. Superpower. Well, it's not a superpower. I wish there were more than 24 hours in a day. So if I had a power where I could make a day longer than 24 hours, I think that would be something that would be more than just a superpower. It would just be phenomenal. But for me, just the time, if I had a way to stretch time, that would be wonderful.
Okay. All right. Well, if you could talk with one person from history, who would that person be and why?
One person in history. Wow. Oh, gosh, there's so many people that have done such wonderful things that you can learn from. That, gosh, wow. Just thinking of one, it's just so difficult. I think one person that just kind of stands out for me that, I first think about would be the great Martin Luther King. Just because, he had to fight so much adversity in just getting his message out there. He really had to go against the grain, go against what a lot of people probably thought was the right thing to do, and just really understanding and getting a lot of information from him on, how and why. There's a lot written, but, it's different when you can get firsthand information from someone. I would love to just have that opportunity just to talk with him and to pick his brain about, how and why he did or said a lot of things that he did because of such the impact that it had on the world, not even just a community, but the world. So I would love to have had the opportunity, or, if I could even today, have that opportunity to ask someone in a position like that, all those different questions, because, that's rare to have an individual that could have such a huge impact on so many lives, and just knowing, the impact that he's had on the world, and not just, a lot of times I guess people would think just African American community, but no, his speeches, the things that he did, the things that he said, literally impacted the entire world. You have people in other countries that are trying to, get equality, and a lot of the things that he went out there and preached or said, they're quoting in other countries. So just having that impact on the world, I think is just tremendous, and I would love to have had the opportunity to, be able to just ask him a lot of questions, and have that influence from him.
Perfect. And if you were conducting this interview, what question would you ask you?
What question would I ask me? You've asked some fabulous questions.
Well, thank you.
Questions I wouldn't have even expected as well. But I think probably what I would ask myself is, what are your plans for the future? How do you feel that you could be of a greater impact on what you're trying to do or the message that you're trying to carry? I think that would probably be the question that I would ask myself, because, we always have to keep thinking and changing or growing. And so I think just making sure that, I'm constantly asking myself, okay, what's the next move, or what's the next step to take to make sure that I am achieving those goals that I want to achieve.
Okay. Well, I'm asking you that question right now. What would your answer be?
My answer would be that I definitely want to try to develop my business to where I can impact as many lives as possible. So just growing my business so that not only am I working with college students and parents, or, in actuality, we start with people in high school, but just expanding so that we can reach as many people as possible. Because one of the things I think that a lot of people don't realize, we dealt with the mortgage crisis, a number of years back, a few years back, and the impact that it had on people's lives are tremendous. You had people losing their jobs, losing their homes, lifestyles literally changing because of the mortgage crisis. A lot of people don't realize that student loan debt is the next big economic crisis. You will find that there are people out here talking about it, but it's not a widespread message. A lot of people don't realize the impact that student loan debt is having and what it's potentially going to have on the future for not just even the individuals that are going to college, but you have to realize that a lot of this impacts us all. If you have someone that has a lot of student loan debt and they can't purchase a home, or they can't start a business, or they can't reach a lot of other milestones in their lives, all of that actually is going to impact each one of us, because it means that, people aren't able to put as much money into the communities. They're not able to pay as much, maybe even in taxes, or there's just so many different ways that it could impact us all. So we really have to be mindful. And so my goal is to make sure that I'm growing and making sure that I'm impacting as many people as I can.
Okay. The next question is, what would you say to a woman with a broken heart?
Oh, wow. A woman with a broken heart. That heart will heal. It does take time, but it will heal. And that we stand together. And, I'm always one, if I can provide any way of helping that individual, I'm only a phone call away. But I think the biggest thing that I think people need to understand is, that heart will heal. I know that may not be something someone wants to hear at the time that they're going through that, but just understanding and knowing that it will heal.
Okay. And what's the most important lesson that you've learned within the last year?
Within the last year, I think the most important lesson that I've probably learned, I think we all kind of live in a box, especially, within our own communities or, our jobs or our lifestyle. And I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is that what I'm trying to do is needed, not just locally, but I know and understand that people, throughout the United States, but I've even heard from people in other countries. I've received messages from people in other countries about, hey, how can we provide this type of service? I had, I think, someone that was running an orphanage that wants me to connect with them. And so we're trying to figure out a time to maybe, talk and try to see what type of services that can be provided in that country at that orphanage, because so many people have so many aspirations when it comes to college, but many of them just don't have a way or a means. So I've learned that this is not something that literally can just impact people here. It can go much bigger than I even imagine.
Wow, that is awesome. That is awesome. That's international, influence. That is great. Oh, wow. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to move into community service, and I wanted you to, share any ways that you're giving back to the community.
Okay. Well, one thing that we're doing is that we're about to prepare to start nonprofit services, like scholarships and things like that, where we're really going to try not only to help students in creating their college plan, but also providing some funding and scholarships, as well as the other services that we provide, and helping them create funding in other ways. So that's something that we're trying to give back to the community. Also, there are going to be some people that are going to need services that will not have the ability to pay for the services. So we're looking to get corporate sponsors so that we can provide services for those who can't afford it. Obviously, most people would probably feel like they can't afford it, but you have some individuals that, you just know they need the help and that, just don't have the funding. So we want to make sure that we serve as many people as possible and those who really need the help. So that's something that we're trying to do in our efforts to give back.
Perfect. Well, we're going to segue into the topic of faith. And in this segment, it's really an opportunity for you to share where your faith has been tested and how you overcame it and how you were able to just come through it. And so it's just a way to encourage our audience and to let them know that they're not alone.
Okay. One of the things, I know a lot of people may have different views on, different religions and all of that, but we all know that faith plays an important role in all of our lives. I mentioned before that I felt like, I was grounded as long as I was following God's plan for me and my purpose in life. So faith provides for me that passion that I have for helping others. And I think that, obviously having that faith also encourages us because, again, I don't think I would have stepped out and tried to provide the services that I'm providing when I could have just sat back and, just continued doing the things that I was doing and, living a comfortable life in, the job that I had, but understanding and realizing that because of my faith, that, if God has a plan for me, I need to step out there and to do it. So, I think people need to definitely realize that their faith plays an important part in all aspects of their life, including their business. A lot of times, people try to separate those things, but I think in everything that we do, faith plays an important role.
Absolutely. Perfect. Well, we're going to move into our closing segment. It's called Matters of the Heart Moments. And the first question is, if you had the opportunity to speak to your 4-year-old self, what would you say to her?
Wow, my 4-year-old self. Besides stop making all those mud pies. and I don't make pies now, but for some reason at 4 years old, I remember making a lot of mud pies. Maybe that's why I don't make them. Let's see. I would probably say to my 4-year-old self, one of the things I think that a lot of people may not know about me, that I'm a little bit shy and reserved. I may not necessarily come off that way sometimes to some people because I don't have a choice in the matter. You have to get up and speak and do things. But I am, somewhat shy and reserved. So I would probably tell my 4-year-old self probably some tips or things, to maybe not be so shy. I just think it was just kind of some of those things or experiences that I went through in life that maybe kind of caused me to be that way. But and it probably has some positive things to it as well, because I think for me, being shy also causes me to step back sometimes and assess the situation before I speak. I think it's definitely a good thing, because I've seen a lot of people that are very outgoing and kind of rashy that will, jump to say something maybe without just taking the time to think about what they're saying. So I'd probably tell my 4-year-old self some tips and things about shyness, but also, reserving the fact that, hey, it's not always a bad thing to be that way, because, in actuality, I think that there's a positive side to it. Again, because it gives me that opportunity to step back and assess the situation before I just jump out into it. Okay.
Well, who inspires you?
Who inspires me? My daughter actually inspires me a lot. When I watch her grow and become the woman that she's coming, it's very inspiring for me. And I guess because of the fact that, you watch this infant that basically is like a mold that you're, kind of instilling information into and nurturing and to watch them grow into the person that they've become. I'm just so proud of my daughter and all of her accomplishments, and even with the desires and things that she's doing in her life today, the services that she's providing and the help she's providing to people. I'm so proud, but it also inspires me to continue doing the things that I'm doing and knowing that the way that I've helped her, I could also help other individuals as well.
Perfect. And are there any last minute pearls of wisdom that you would like to share?
Last minute pearls of wisdom. I think the main thing, and this just kind of goes back to some of the things that I mentioned before about Finish College Smart. But I think one of the things that people need to realize in a lot of aspects of our lives, we need to be strategic with planning. Whether it be with things on our job or whether it be going to college or, a lot of things that we do in our lives. We need to be strategic in our planning so that we can make smart choices. Again, I'm one of those people that I hate to see people say, I wish I had have known. So get out there and get the information that you need so that you can make those smart choices and be strategic in your planning.
That sounds perfect. Well, Mona Lisa, we want to thank you so much for being with us today and for sharing with us.
Well, I'm so honored that you've had me. I've really enjoyed this interview, and I hope that it encourages and helps someone out there.
Yes, absolutely. I know that it will. Awesome. And our goal at the Flora Pearl Foundation is to always be a blessing to all of those that we come in contact with by operating with the spirit of excellence. We want to thank you all so much for listening today. And you can visit our website at www.florapearlfoundation.org. We look forward to spending time with you all each week, and we will talk to you soon.